now. Daddy, don't! Turn that off.
We're heading towards Revolta to the
Shut up, Dad.
famous home of the Revello Wildcats.
Wildcats.
Heading through the South Dakota countryside, we see many things.
You're going to see nothing from the car.
Looks like a unharvested cornfield. Ahead.
They're gonna see a picture of you on film.
Here we have
Dad, smile.
a new house to be completed out on the barren prairie.
When you shut it off, make sure that that standby button's off, otherwise it'll run the battery down.
We are going to the home of the Wildcats who
I don't
made it to
think
the
you're
state
taking-
league championships.
The light is not
No
flashing,
shit.
Tom. The light's supposed to be flashing. Turn it off, Tom. This is dumb to record.
Can I say that? I want to say. Here, let me. I'll take a picture of you, Dad.
Look at here, we've got some snowmobiles.
Picture of here. Where? Oh, right there.
I doubt it. Think they're just waiting for us to go by.
We're gonna be waiting a while.
I don't know.
There's a kid on the back of one.
The 1992 Lady Wildcats. There we go. All right, thank you all for coming this afternoon. We're here on a very special occasion. Our first trip ever as a consolidated school to a state high school basketball tournament by these young ladies right here. We've got quite a number of people who are going to run up here tonight and congratulate these ladies. So we're going to get started this program. I would like to offer my personal congratulations. I was sitting there this morning looking at Mr. Mock's Hanson and Anderson book. It's a book put out by two gentlemen that focus on girls basketball and boys basketball throughout the state of South Dakota. When I was looking at that this morning, I ran across what they picked as the top 25 players in Class B in the state of South Dakota. In that list were 6 ladies that these kids have played against somewhere between the start of the season and the end of the region tournament. There was one from 6 different teams. Well, you can take 6 individuals and put them on 6 teams, and I'll take 12 girls and put them on one team and beat them every day of the week. This team has no stars. If you take Webster's dictionary out and you look up 3 words, and heart. Right behind it, the definition will read 1992 Lady Wildcats. The first person I'd like to introduce this afternoon to speak on behalf of the school board is Myron Roggenbuck.
This is probably going to be very short because the first person I have to thank is Jim Peterson for not showing up this afternoon. When I walked in the door out here, Barry says, hey, you got to speak on behalf of the board. And I think on behalf of the board, I would like to congratulate these girls on what they've done. They've definitely put Grand Duel on the map for girls basketball. And I know we're all very proud of them, and I can speak on behalf of the board and say that thank them for putting us on the board, or on the map. And I know that it takes a great deal of hard work in order for a team to get to the state tournament. 30 years ago, I sat on the sidelines on a boys basketball team that played in a state tournament. And I know from that experience that it's just an awful lot of hard work that goes into one of those teams. And I think these girls should remember that these last 3 days are probably the best time of their lives. They're going to remember this forever. I know I can tell you every one of those boys' names that played on the team that I coached, that played for Britain High School at the time, and it's truly a wonderful experience. So keep that in mind, girls, and enjoy the day. Thank you very much.
To speak for the town of Revillo, the Mayor, Lowell Schultz.
I just want to say I didn't think this was in my job description here, but we're very proud of these girls and our coaches, in fact, our faculty and everything here at this school. I expect them to probably be doing it again this next year. They're going to have a couple big pairs of shoes to fill there, but somebody, thank you.
We'd like to ask Glenn Schul, the mayor of LaBolt, to speak now, please.
Well, I'm not very good at this here kind of a job. You see a couple of guys smiling pretty good up there, see me up here. But we're really proud of you girls, and you've done a terrific job. You've kind of put the Wildcats and Revillo and LaBolt and Strandberg on the map. You worked real good together. And we want to congratulate you from all the people in LaBolt and in the area. And have a good day.
Last but certainly not least, the mayor of Strandberg, Doug Brugman.
I just want to say thank you, girls, for doing a good job this year. And I hope you go again next year at it. And good luck. You did a good job, and hope to see you again next year. And you done good. Thank you much.
We're now going to ask the Grand Duel High School Band, under the direction of Mrs. Bierke, to play one more song. If you attended the tournament for 3 days, I don't think there's any doubt that our band won the state tournament. We were fortunate.
I would like to thank Beth Scatfold for kind of borrowing that for us from Northern.
The next individual on our program is our superintendent, Mr. Levison.
What
What time is it here? Let's see. We've got about an hour here, I think. I've already been told 3 times to keep this short. I just have some observations. One of the things I want to say is that you will soon be getting your daughters back. I know this has been sort of a strange vacation. You've been able to see them every day, but they've not been sleeping in their beds at night, and they've not been eating with you at all. And I suppose if you think about it, it's sort of a rehearsal for the future, but they will be back with you tonight. That will be nice. That will be nice. I also want to say that if baseball is a game of inches, then basketball is definitely a game of split seconds. This year, there's no doubt that Grant Dual is a living testimonial to that fact, both on the winning side of the ledger when you think about the Henry ball game, and on the losing side of the ledger when you think about the Hanson ball game. But that's the way the game is played, and we do play it well. I also want to say something about our coach. In my view, it doesn't take something good about our coach. My observation is that it doesn't take a coaching genius to put 2 or 3 6-footers on the floor and win ball games. But it takes something special to put a team on the floor when the tallest is about 5'7", 5'8". You do have to be demanding, you do have to push hard, and you have to have high expectations. And that was obvious. That was obvious. And the girls responded. And I'm sure if you noticed, if you watched, and you couldn't help but watch 3 days of basketball, but if you watched, you had to have noted that Grant Dual plays a different kind of ball. We don't play ball like everybody else played there. And we did well. We did well with it, and we do well with it. And I do believe we'll continue to do well with that. And that is no accident. That comes from a coach. It has to start there, and has to be there. I also, go ahead. Along with Mr. Pickner, I want to recognize the Grant Dual High School band under Vicki Bierke. They did quite a job on Thursday. They should have been there Saturday. But that's what music is about. It's intended to be fun, and it's intended to be infectious. And if there had been a Spirit of the Band award, Grant Dual definitely would have won it. No question. I also want to recognize the adult cheerleading section that we had. They were usually right in the top row of the bleacher section, sort of right at the top there, and they kept everybody going. They kept all of us going for 3 games. Did a nice job. And I don't know if you young ladies could hear them. I don't know how you can help but hear them. So there was a nice row, and I'd like to give them a special hand as well. They did a nice job. I also want to thank all of the parents. You know, you've really done a nice job. Parents past and present. Because it isn't just this year. You build a team over time. You build a team over years. And when the parents at Grant Dual volunteer and volunteer and volunteer and volunteer, and you do many things, some great things, some small things, but they all get done. Everything gets done. Today is another good example of that things will be done today, and this is nice what we're doing. You know, we're recognizing our young ladies for the job they did. And many of the ideas and the thinking and so forth came from our parents for this. And I also want to, as the superintendent of the school district, oftentimes don't have a chance to say this, but I want to thank you for paying your taxes cheerfully and willingly, because there is a price to excellence. There is a price to excellence. So, you can give yourself a hand. You definitely deserve it. Finally, there's been a lot said about the basketball team, and there will be more said yet today. A couple weeks ago, right after we won the regional tournament at Esteline, I needed to prepare something for our newsletter. And I wrote I guess you could say it was a letter. And I was asked to share it with you. Most of you have read it. I would hope all of you have read it, but I was asked to share it with everybody at this time. So I'm going to do that. And then that'll be it. Huh? How we doing? Went like this. Dear parents and patrons of the school district, this is an historic day. It has been 43 years since any athletic team from the area encompassed by the Grand Duel.
We have down in front of us today 12 very important basketball players, 2 very important student managers, and 2 very important coaches. I would like to take the opportunity right now to recognize one other individual who is as much a part of this team and as much an important part of this team as anybody sitting down here in front of you today. This person is not only part of the team, but may be this team's biggest fan. This person takes your daughters to and from every game safely. This person keeps score at every basketball game. This person always has a smile on her face and is a huge, huge Grand Duel High School girls basketball fan. Ladies and gentlemen, will you help me thank Don Erickson? Throughout the course of a year, you have a number of kids, and in this case we had 12 kids step up and really play well. Today, we'd like to ask a couple of these young ladies, both happen to be seniors on this year's squad, speak to you, and we'd like to start with Beth Thole.
I never imagined I would be playing in a state tournament. Through all the years that I was in basketball, I never even dreamed of getting there. So, I would like to thank all of my fellow teammates for making this season fun and exciting. I can't recall ever having a dull moment with any of them. And we wouldn't have gotten this far without all of the girls working their hardest in practice and pushing each other to go as far and work as hard as they could every day. Mr. Mack and Mrs. Buschlager, I'd especially like to thank you guys. The reason why all of us worked as hard as we could every day. You told us to always strive to be successful, and if we worked as hard as we could, it would be a success no matter what. We were best known for our tough defense, and we took pride in this. We just played as hard as we could every time we stepped out on the court. I would also like to thank all of our parents for the suppers they prepared for us for our away games and for being our best and biggest fans. I would also like to thank the Booster Club for the flowers they provided for us and for the elementary students for all the nice signs that they made for us. And I'd like to thank everyone for all of this afternoon. Thank you.
Our other senior co-captain, Heidi Storm.
At the beginning of the season, our coach told us seniors that we could have a great season, but I never thought that we'd make it to the state tournament. All of the hard work that our team put in really paid off. We had a lot of fun throughout the season, and I'll never forget the memories we've made. I especially want to thank Coach Mack and Coach Buschlager for making us work hard and always pushing us to want more. They always wanted us to do our best, and they wouldn't settle for any less. We were known as the team that just played hard. Coach Mack taught us this, and that's what we did throughout the season. I want to thank you all for the coming home party and for supporting us throughout the season. I would also like to thank the parents for the suppers and the Booster Club for the flowers. And last but not least, our parents, who are our loyalist fans. Thank you.
The next person we'd like to ask speak today is the only person down here in front of you that had any state tournament experience going into this little event. Mrs. Buschlager happened to have gotten to play in about 4 of these babies while she was at Castlewood High School, so she kind of knew what was going on. Ladies and gentlemen, our assistant coach, Janelle Walschlager.
Yes, I did play in 4 of these, and to be honest with you, I don't know which is more exciting, being a player or being a coach, but right now I'd have to say being an assistant coach is more exciting. There's many people that need the thanks, and the girls have gone through them, and everyone else has gone through them, but I think the person that really needs a lot of these things is Mr. Mock. He's gotten a lot of criticism, probably through the 4 years. Too hard of practices, too long of practices, too hard on the girls. I'll tell you what, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be here right now. Being a coach, there's a lot of responsibility involved. You not only teach them the skills of basketball and the fundamentals of basketball or any sport, but you also teach them many lessons in life. And Mr. Mock's favorite sayings were, the harder you work, the luckier you're going to get. And I think that's true in anything that you do in life. He also said that you have to be mentally tough, mind over matter. And I think these 12 girls have proven that it takes mentally toughness and being mind over matter, and the harder you work, the luckier you're going to become, because they have accomplished their dreams. At the beginning of the season, I don't think, to be honest with you, these 12 girls, myself, or many people, any of you sitting out there, thought that we would be as far or make it as far as we did, but we did. And I think a lot of that credit goes to Mr. Mock. I told myself I wasn't going to get emotional, but in the state that I am, they say you're more emotional than what you normally are anyway. I'd also like to thank my husband, Brian, for all of his support and for just listening when I came home crabby and tired, grouchy, and everything else. You can ask any spouse of any coach. It's not easy being a spouse of a coach. And I guess I'd like to say, or end by saying, Mr. Mock, you don't have to worry anymore. You won't have to deliver my baby because we'll be done by next year.
I want Janelle to know there were 2 pregnant women involved in coaching at the state tournament. We definitely got the better end of that deal. Four years ago, Grand Dual High School needed to hire a basketball coach and a social studies teacher. We advertised the position. We had over 60 applicants. I spent about 4 hours one day whittling it down and spent about 3 days making all kinds of phone calls. And with every phone call I made, it all seemed to come back to one individual. I had 1 million people, now maybe not 1 million, maybe 10 or 12. But I had 10 or 12 people tell me that Craig Mock is going to be an outstanding basketball coach. Well, I had no reason to doubt that. And I made calls on 3 other guys, and I had 10 or 12 people support their position as a basketball coach also. But the one thing that sold me on Craig Mock was that I talked to a lady in Mount Marty. The first thing she told me was Craig Mock was going to be an outstanding teacher, and that sealed the deal right there. I didn't want a basketball coach. I wanted a teacher who could coach basketball. I think Grand Dual is fortunate. We happen to get both. Craig Mock is not only an outstanding basketball coach, but an outstanding teacher also. When I made my decision that this is the guy we had to have at Grand Dual, I set out to find him. Well, this guy's hard to find. You're 21 or 22 years old, you're running all over the country in the middle of summer. I don't know what he's doing, I can't find him. I called 44 people, I don't know where he's at. I finally found him at Waubay High School in the principal's office, ready to interview for their head basketball job. Told the secretary, hold the phone. Get this guy on here. I want to talk to him. And I'll tell you my exact words. I said, is this Craig Mock? And he said, yes, it is. This is Barry Pickner at Grant Dual High School. I want your butt at Grant Dual, not at Waubay. I don't know how long his interview lasted there, but about an hour later, he was here. And I'm darn glad he is. Janelle said, Craig works him hard. Understatement of the century. Craig is Mr. Intensity. Understatement of the century. This guy can bark, he can growl, and he gets results. As far as I know, ladies and gentlemen, there's only 3 great things that ever came out of Illinois. The Chicago Bulls, the Chicago Bears, and the best young basketball mind in the state of South Dakota, Craig Mock.
First of all, I wrote that speech for Janelle. Well, that's enough about me. I'm obviously going to be up here talking about the team. You know, Mr. Pickner said once we got the state tournament, I've already got the welcome home plan. And I really didn't have any concept of what he was talking about, the welcome home. You know, we're only going to be 35 miles away, and now I understand what they mean by the welcome home. This is quite a deal. When I was at the state tournament, I was talking to a lot of other coaches, obviously, while I was there, and I was talking to quite a few coaches that their schools were near Watertown. And they asked me if we were staying in Watertown, and I said, yeah, of course we're staying. And he says, wow, that's awful nice. I know we've got some administrators that wouldn't let us do that. And I said, why? And he said, well, our administrators are so-and-sos. And I'd like to thank our administrators and our school board for allowing us to go over and stay in Watertown and really get the atmosphere of what the state tournament is all about. And you know, we got the true feelings of the state, and therefore it makes the welcome home just seem that much more enjoyable when we came back. A lot of you were at our tournament games in Watertown, and yesterday's game, after we were defeated by Avon, we walked in the locker room, and I was really mad. And our girls were really down because we had just lost the ball game. And normally, probably when most coaches would go into a locker room after the season's over, after you've been in the state tournament, they would go in and they'd say, oh, we had a great year, this and this and this, and so on. And I told our girls, I'm not going to tell you that because I don't want to. Not right now, because I'm too much of a competitor and we just got beaten. And you guys are too much of competitors as well, and you don't want to hear it right now. Because you guys are hanging your heads, we just got beat by an opponent, and you know, it's not setting well with you right now. So I guess right now is the time to reflect on our season and the kind of season that we had. Mighty Stormer's right. I did call my seniors in early in the season when we started practice, only because I thought practice wasn't going very well, and I thought I'd get our seniors in and try and tell them what it was like and the things maybe they could do to try and get practice going a little bit. And I know our seniors aren't rah-rah type of people. They're not the ones that will tell somebody to get going and this and that, but I told them to lead by example, just to work hard in the things that they've already explained. And I told them, as I sat in my chair in the coach's office, and they sat there, and there were 2 chairs, and I had the calendar up on the wall, and we went through the games, and I said, geez, we're doing 15 games this year. And I said, you're going to need some breaks, we're going to need to do this, we're going to need to do that, but you know, we could get 15 wins, and we can improve on last year's record. And when they left, I thought, geez, you know, that might be pushing it. Well, goes to show how wrong I was. And we come out with 21 wins. We set the record here at Grant Dual for the most wins by a women's basketball team, and I'll tell you what, they surprised me maybe more than anybody here, what they could get done. I thought the key to our season was early in the year when we went down to Lake Preston. Lake Preston drilled us every year I've been here in girls basketball. They buried us a year ago. They came out here and beat us by over 30 points. It was just embarrassing. I thought that was, early in the year, that was a key to our season because we went down there and we beat them by 11. And we were in the locker room, and I think it helped us understand that we can beat some good teams on the road, things that we haven't been able to do in the past. I can remember right after that win, we were 3-0, and we come back home here and stub our toe and get beat by South Shore. I can remember I'm sitting in my classroom between first and second period, and we were 3-0, and the football team was 3-0, and it was kind of the who's going to lose first? Well, we lost first, and remember Heidi Storm in the hallway. I could hear him out in the hall, and Heidi Storm was crabby for some reason. The boys were kind of giving her a hard time. And I don't remember who it was. Somebody said, Heidi, why are you so crabby? Why are you so crabby? And one of the senior football players said, oh, she's crabby because we're 3-0 and they're 3-1. And I think it started registering to them that, hey, we're going to have a little more competitiveness just in our opponents. We got to have a competitiveness in the fall because it was a really enjoyable fall season. I said that right when I first got to Watertown over the tournament. They said, you must have had a great fall with your football team and your girls basketball team. And I said, yeah, it was just one of the more enjoyable falls I think has been going on in Grand Duel, and I just hope we can continue it at the state tournament. After our Lake Preston win, I thought, and then we lost South Shore, I thought the next thing that was a key to our season was winning that conference tournament over in Waverly. Waverly was playing really well at the time, and I know a lot of people didn't think we had much of a chance to beat Waverly over there because Waverly was pretty much favored, and we pretty much buried them in the conference tournament. And I thought that was another key that gave us confidence to know that we could play with just about anybody in our area. And we went on, lost a couple more games, a couple of tough ones to Willow Lake and Henry, and I thought we learned from those losses going into the state tournament, going into district play. And I thought those were important part. Going into district play, we had 3 losses by a total of 9 points at one point. So we knew that we could play with anybody at that point. And I had a lot of people tell me, a lot of you in the crowd know who you are, come up and tell me, well, it's better to lose, we'll get them in the districts. And of course, when we lose, I don't agree with that. I want to get them both times. But I guess maybe you knew more at that point than what I did. Going in the district tournament over in Watertown, I thought pretty exciting ball games. And Mr. Levison said game of inches, game of seconds. Game of seconds over there too. When we lost that first round of in the state tournament, Janelle kind of ruined it today because when we lost that game to Hanson, we went in the locker room, and I always feel that the game of playing sports is a lot like life. You're going to have your ups and you're going to have your downs, and you're going to have to bounce back from your downs. And I was one of those people that jumped in the air thinking we had won the ball game. I threw my hands in the air, I jumped in the air, and I looked at the clock, I saw 1 second, I saw the air ball, and I thought we'd won. I thought we were going to be one of the top 4 teams in the state tournament. And I had that rug of enjoyment pulled right out from under me, and I crash landed into total depression. I could not believe it. And I went in the locker room, walked in, and I kind of glanced in the crowd and looked at all your faces, and then I went in the locker room and did my normal thing, and here come the girls in. I expected a lot of crying, and not one girl cried. So I was going to say nobody cried the whole year until, And I think on their faces was a lot like on your faces, a total shock, as I am in total shock, and as we continue to talk about that game for a long time. There were no show of emotions. There was no crying going on, and I knew at that point, and as I was driving back to welcome home here, that our team, at that point, a lot of you kids know what I mean by get tough. I say T-U-F, tough. I know that our girls are tough, big time tough at that point, and I think that loss may have hurt their goal in basketball and going to the state tournament, but maybe it helped them a little bit in life as well, and that they had to pick themselves up after crash landing like that. There's one thing I'd like to say about myself, and that I'm a dreamer. And this is true. I know you don't have to believe me. I know our girls will believe me because I know that I don't lie to them, and I tell them the way it is. If they stink, I'll tell them they stink, and they know that I don't lie, and I tell them the truth. And I'm riding over on the bus. We're going to the districts, and when we're riding over to Henry, I'm thinking in the front seat, and I'm looking out the window, and I'm kind of dreaming what it'd be like to have our crowd run down on the floor, in a situation where a lot of excitement. We win a game, a big game. Lo and behold, we win that Henry game in the last second. And to jump back a little bit, when we got in the locker room after the Hanson game, I said, you guys will never be involved in a more heartbreaking loss in your life. And unfortunately, I had to be in the state tournament, and that's all I said. I said, let's get the hands in, let's get out of here, and we'll talk in the motel after we've had time to think a little bit. When we got in our motel room, I said, yeah, we lost on the last second shot. We were up 1, and it's tough to take, but I guess I would rather have it happen now because Mr. Levson said it's a game of seconds, and that Henry game when we were up 1 and they had the ball and they were driving to the hole at the same time, that thing could have went just as easy at that point. And hopefully we realize that sometimes the breaks go our way and sometimes they don't. But getting back to the district, then we go to Willow Lake, and you know, not very many people are giving us much of a chance to beat Willow Lake. They're ranked 5 in the state, and we've never beaten them here, and or never beaten them since I've been here, girls basketball. And I'm dreaming again. I'm dreaming, gosh, what would it be like to cut the nets down? See our girls on the ladder. I wonder what that'd be like. And I thought, I wonder what it'd be like if I could cut nets. Well, I'm always busy with the press, and I never got to cut a stitch. But if I got it, if it didn't happen. And that was a great win for our program, and then we go to regions, and I did the same thing. I thought about what it'd be like, and it happened again. And I guess sometimes your dreams do come true, because I told the girls when we went on the end line for the first time after regions, I said it's always been a dream of mine as a coach to go to a state tournament, and I never dreamed that it would come this soon. And I guess I'd have to attribute a lot of that to these 12 girls behind you here, and a lot of people have already said, you know, I'm kind of a hard-nosed guy, and I ask a lot of these girls, and I don't just ask out of the 5 that you see me coaching on the floor. You can ask any one of these B team, these sophomores, that I get on them in practice just as hard as I get on the other girls, because I need them to work just as hard to make them a little better, and it's just a complete total team effort. One other thing I'd like to mention, I was thinking of this, I drove my car over to Watertown because I had to drive back in the morning for boys' practices. And when I was driving back after Thursday morning's practice here at school, I was driving back, and I got to thinking about somebody that I wish was here. When I first came here, we struggled really hard. We only won 8 games, and we got drilled a lot of times. There's one guy that always is there, congratulate me after every win, always pat me on the back, telling me to lift your head after every loss, and that's Mr. Buehler. Mr. Buehler's been here a long time. He never got to see a state tournament. And I got to think, God darn, here we had to go right after Mr. Buehler couldn't be a part of us. But then I got to thinking, you know, don't be so stupid. He's right down there looking upon us. You know, and I'm glad that he's smiling right now. We had parent-teacher conferences a little while ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I had one parent come in and tell me, I wanted to talk about the season, blah, blah, blah. She ended up saying, geez, coach, you're just never satisfied. Just never satisfied, are you? And I always tell our girls, we got on the end line, I said, once you're satisfied as a player, we're done as a team. We've won 21 ball games, and I can tell you almost every one of those ball games, except for a select few big wins, we go in the locker room, and they be hanging their heads. Because they know they got to play better. They got to keep improving. They can't be satisfied. We got to keep striving for more. And by golly, if they didn't take that to heart and get the job done. And I guess I'm going to just leave you with this, that last night, after the tournament was over, they announced the all-tournament team. By golly, Grantville wasn't the only team that didn't have a member on the all-tournament team. It kind of made me mad at first, and I got to thinking, well, I guess that just shows you we're more of a team than everybody else there. As I was checking out the motel today, I went in the girls' rooms and got all the keys, and all the other schools were packing up, kind of walking out to the buses, and there's kind of a sense of sadness in the air, as far as I could tell, between all the schools. They all had their shirts on. Every school, I think, seemed to have their shirt on as they was loading up and walking out. And last night there was a lot of cheering going on, a lot of kids running around, and it was just crazy. And today it was kind of subdued, kind of mellow. And I don't care if the team got first there or got 8th at the state tournament. They're good teams. They all won 17, 18 ball games plus, and they're all competitors, and they all like to get after it. And they know that right now it's over, and they will no longer step on the floor this season and get after people go nose to nose and try and prove that you're just a little bit better than your opponent. And I just got that feeling as I walked through our girls' motel room and walked through all the Northwestern girls and everybody else that it was kind of a sad feeling that it's over. But yet maybe a feeling of relief that those 8 teams that were there had accomplished something great. I'm really proud. You know, I don't tell our girls I don't do a lot of patting on the back. I don't tell them a lot of positive things that maybe I should a lot, but my theory is I don't like them to think that I'm satisfied in that respect, in that aspect. But I tell you what, they've helped me fulfill my dream as a coach, and I hope I've helped them fulfill their dream as a player. And I'd like to thank my 2 seniors who came up here and talked. Like I said, I don't think I'll ever have not only two girls, I don't think I'll ever have 2 players that have been through the exact same things that I've been through. As freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors, they grew with me on the way, every step. Never once did they ever question. Never once did they backbite. Never once did they talk behind. They're true champions. I'm going to tell you what, they're going to be able to strut their stuff for quite a while down the halls of Grandview High School for the things that they've accomplished this year. And I'm proud of them. One last thing. Being able to stay over there, we've got to see some of the better teams in the state play. And you know, we had our first, I think one of the first ever camps here, and that's a tribute to the community to allow us to do that. We had great turnout, and I like to attribute that enthusiasm to help for our success. And I think our girls got an idea of you know, we had a satisfying season. We're satisfied now. But if we're going to look to next year, if we're going to continue to improve, because that's always our goal, to improve on every year. Well, when you're 21-5 and 6th in the state, to improve is going to take even more. Along the way, you also have to have breaks. You have to have a little luck, and things like that. And you know, I don't think our girls are going to be satisfied yet because they're big-time competitors. And the thank yous are numerous, and I'd like to just thank the whole community. Because you know, when you start going individuals, I start naming one person, naming another, I'm going to leave somebody out. And we're not a bunch of individuals as a team or as a community. It takes a whole effort. Some things I'd like to say, we're riding back after Avon. Of course, I go in the locker room after we get beat in the 5th place game, and I kind of do a little chewing a little bit. And I get on the bus, I start smiling, start laughing. Tricia or somebody says, "What are you laughing about? Why are you laughing?" I start thinking about the funny things that happened this year. Maybe I'd like to share some of those just to kind of like, you know. Daryl Woolery, first of all, probably never been to very many girls' basketball games. I talked him into finally coming this year. Because I thought, you know, I told him, you know, we're not a flashy team. We don't dunk and we don't shoot the trifectas and we don't do anything like that. But I tell you what, we play really hard, and I think that's really impressive. And finally got him to come to the games, and I thought it was a key to our success because every time he came to the game, he'd always walk in front of the girls and I'd say, "All right, girls, you guys got to play really well today because you know you're going to get out coached." I had to say that every day too. So we had some funny things in practice. I never laughed very often in practice, but we did have some funny things that went on this year, and you know, I guess it has to happen where somebody has to get embarrassed for me to laugh. And there were a couple times where we'd be playing hard, and I'd be screaming at them, you know, get after it, get going hard, and they'd be diving all over the place, and the ball would be flying around in the air. And I don't remember where I was screaming. I was standing down here. We were practicing for the state tournament. I was standing at this end. Somebody I don't remember was standing right here. And I said, "I want the ball down here." So she threw it the length of the floor, hit the rim, came back and ricocheted off, and I think it hit Jan Bo right in the head. Kind of had to turn my back and laugh a little bit. Don't get me wrong. I think we did have our fun at times this year. But I think fun. I always told our girls, have fun out there. We have fun playing hard. And if you all remember one thing about the 1992 Lady Wildcats, they played hard. Again, I want to thank everybody, and I guess what we're going to try and do is try and get the boys to Aberdeen this year too. Thanks.
right after the conclusion of the program, I want to remind you that there'll be lunch and coffee and punch out here in the lunchroom. We'd like to close our program today with something put on by the parents. We're all proud of the girls, but I think it's safe to say that the people that raised them are probably more proud than anybody else right here today. So I'm going to turn the rest of it over to the parents, and Mr. Bowe will speak for them.
I really don't know if I consider being the speaker for the parents an honor or another railroad job. Parents, please come up. All of you student manager parents, I guess on behalf of the parents of the team, we would like to take this opportunity to thank you, the fans, who have supported our daughters throughout the years. We are truly grateful for having supporting fans like you. Thank you very much. Daughters, this is for you. As parents, we would like to send you a letter today. So daughters, this letter is from you, from Mom and Dad. In case you forgot, today is Sunday. It's December 6th, and it's 1992. Dear daughter, young lady, today we are especially proud to have you as our daughter. We have accomplished more than most people ever dream about. Today, you are the envy of many players and have the admiration of your whole community. Going to a state tournament is truly a great honor in itself. We are so proud of your good sportsmanship, both on and off the court. You have earned the respect of fellow athletes, teammates, coaches, media, and us. You may not realize this, but you are a leader, an idol, and a role model for many, not just for today, but for years to come. Your academic and athletic activities have been great. You have set high goals for yourself and have put your whole heart into achieving those goals. When the going got tough, you dug down deep, came up with inner strength, and got the job done. By giving so much heart, you have captured our hearts. Today, we would like to give you a little more heart, just in case you may be running low. It is our wish that this heart will be a reminder of how proud we are of you and how much we love you. Keep your goals high and keep up the good work. Signed, with all our love, always, Mom and Dad. Thank you.